Hey everybody, this is Kamira with imperfectlife.com, where I talk about navigating life after pet loss through inspiration and art. So today I wanted to talk about 5 secrets to moving on after pet loss. If this is your first time on this channel, welcome. My name is Kamira. I am writer and author of imperfectlife.com, where I talk about navigating the waters after losing a pet. And today is a very important topic: 5 secrets to moving on after pet loss. I know for myself, after my pet Dusty passed away, I had a hard time moving on, not quickly, but it was very devastating for me. I felt like she was my heart cat. I know I went through that experience and it was hard on me. And I know that there are other pet parents out there that are grieving too. And based on my experience and what I found to be true, I wanted to share these 5 secrets with you. So hopefully this video gives you some comfort, gives you some validation for your feelings and your thoughts. And with that said, let's get started with these 5 secrets. So first, in terms of moving on, you want to kind of know what is holding you back. Is it guilt? Is it trying to figure out how to release the guilt? Is it a lack of closure? These are all things to consider when trying to move on. So, one of the things that happened to me, I had a big sense of guilt. I had to put my heart cat Dusty down or you get her euthanized due to her cancer. And I had a big sense of guilt about that. I also had a big issue with guilt because of the manner and how I had to say goodbye. Was not able to say goodbye to the very last breath she took, but I was in the room as they gave her the sedation at the vet's recommendation, and I had an enormous amount of guilt about that. So, is it guilt? Finding ways to also learn to release the guilt. What I also came to realize is that our pets don't have they don't have any grudges. They are our best teachers and they would want the same for us. So it's important that we learn to release the guilt. And with time, I did learn to release the guilt. When it came to, losing my pet Dusty, the way everything happened, I did write a post on the blog about it. I'll leave a link in the description to that below. But is it guilt that's holding you back? Or maybe that's not the problem. Maybe it's a lack of closure. Some people, depending on how the way they lost their pet, it was sudden and or it was a horrible accident or maybe a kidnapping or maybe your pet got hit by a car. These are all factors. So just consider take note of what is holding you back and then find a way to address that and get the closure that you deserve. So that's number one. And in the end, at the end of the day, whatever method you find your closure and come to find your closure, realize it does take time and it is on no specific timetable. Everyone heals on their own timetable. So that's number one. Number two, you want to be able to talk it out. Talk it out with somebody, whether that's a friend, a family member, or even a professional if need be. It's important to have a sense of support. It's important to surround yourself with other pet parents or specifically pet parents that have gone through what you've gone through and lost a pet. They understand the depth of the grief that can take over. They understand that you will be sad or even in some cases depressed. So finding like-minded people that have lived this experience is important. It's important to get that support. It's important to talk it out. It's vital to release these emotions because holding this inside is not good. It actually can manifest itself in other physical problems. I know personally when I went through the loss of my cat Dusty, because I was crying so much, because I had so much sadness, it did manifest in other ways physically. And consulting my physician, she said what I was experiencing in terms of specifically female hormonal changes with my body. She said because of the devastating loss, that is normal to experience. And if I had not called my physician, I would never have known that. So just be aware. Number two, one of the other secrets to moving on after loss is to talk it out and get that support. Number three, learn to forgive yourself and them. So, back to what I was saying about what's holding you back, learn to forgive yourself. If you are in the same position that I happen to be in, and you had to be the one to maybe make that decision to euthanize your pet and put them down, and you have grief or, excuse me, guilt about that, learn to forgive yourself. Because trust and believe our pets would not want us to harp and dwell on that. They are on the other side, happy and healthy and free from their illness or whatever they had going on. They would not want us um, to harp on that or obsess about that and no matter what they left. They would want us to honor their memory and all the other positive memories and experiences shared together. So try to learn to forgive yourself, look at it from a different perspective. Now, if your pet happened to be a pet that died at the hands of someone else or an accident or something malicious, try to, as hard as it is, try to forgive others. And I know it's so easy to say that, harder to say. What is it? Easier said than done. That's right. Easier said than done. However, I will tell you a quick little story, a personal story that has to do with my own husband. My husband happened to have a dog. And when he was younger, his dog, he lived in the Caribbean. I won't say where for his privacy, but he lived in the Caribbean and he's a country boy. So at the time, he had a dog, and his neighbor was not very favorable around town. At the end of the day, his young pup was poisoned by his neighbor and ended up dying. Now, back to the part about forgiveness. You can say, like, oh my gosh, I could never, but this is what I'm going to get at. I say, try your best to forgive the others because karma is a real thing. And that's where I'm going with this. Karma is a real thing. If you're not familiar with karma, essentially what you put out in the world comes back to you. So, with that said, what happened to his pup? He had moved abroad to the States, and eventually, when he was telling me about this story, he told me that he found out, he keeps in touch with people, but he found out later what happened to that neighbor. That same neighbor moved, her house caught on fire, and that woman had a child, and that female daughter passed away in the fire. So if you want to talk about karma, oh my goodness. So karma is a beast. That's all I'll say. Those are just the facts. I'm just saying, like, you may want to forgive because at the end of the day, forgiveness does not mean that you forget what happened. All that forgiveness means is you will not allow the experience that devastated you to control you and dictate how you move forward in your life. You are not going to allow that experience or what happened to you um, take precedence and determine your future. That's really essentially what forgiveness is. So that is an important step um, to remember. So that's number three. All right, the next one, the next secret, take it one step at a time. I touched on this a little bit earlier, but just remember to take it one step at a time. This is a marathon, it is not a sprint. And when it comes to healing after pet loss, you'll have ups and downs and ebbs and flows. It really is like a roller coaster. For me, the first couple weeks, I was crying like crazy. And then it came to a point I had to get back to my 9 to 5 at the time, and I would be commuting on the train and like, "Okay, today's a good day," and I would be almost home, and I would just start bawling. I would see something or hear a pet or see a pet, like a seeing eye dog or something random, and it would just trigger that emotion like, "Oh, I miss my girl, I miss Dusty." And I would start crying. So just know those things are normal. You take it one step at a time. Everyone's journey is different. Don't let anyone tell you you must heal in X amount of time, X amount of weeks, months, or don't let anyone tell you, are you ready just to adopt another pet? Yeah, it's all on your timetable. Let it all happen organically. Some of the things that I touch on that can help you move forward in your own time and happen organically, I personally suggest volunteer work. I know how much it helped me. The good thing about volunteer work is you can find something you enjoy doing, make that a priority, and then put that to action to help others. There are other things like art therapy or other ways that you can take self care and take self assessment of what positively feeds your soul. Okay. So, and then the last one, number five, the fifth secret to moving on after pet loss is keep your pet's memory alive. Oh my goodness, I still talk about Dusty all the time. She passed away a few years ago, but I still talk about her. So, whether that means talking about her or your pet specifically, talking about your pet, or if that means creating a collage photo of memories for your pet, or creating something like in Canva, something you like a digital wall or storyboard. You can make it as a screensaver on your desktop, or you can contact a company like My Digital Memories and create a video memorial, pet memorial tribute. I'll leave a link to that post and review. I did a review about that in the description box below. That's a great option as well. You can have a digital video made in their memory. There's so many options you can do in order to memorialize your pet and keep their memory alive, because that's the point at the end of the day. We want to keep our pets' memory alive and remember them the way they were when they were with us at their healthiest and happiest. So, those are the five tips and secrets to moving on after pet loss. I encourage you to check out the full post in detail on the blog. Use the link in the description box below. Let me know, have you lost a pet? And if so, what steps have you taken to help you move on after pet loss? Are there any tips or tricks that you would add to this list? Did any of these ideas resonate with you? Leave a comment below. And be sure, don't forget to subscribe and also follow me on Pinterest and Twitter. And I hope these tips resonated with you. Thank you for watching. And until next time, I will catch you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.